Yo, you guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here, and we got the preview to Michigan versus Washington. It's going to be a huge game, no matter if Washington lost to Montana or not. Even Jim Harbaugh said the loss to Montana for Washington is irrelevant this week. In an effort to keep his team motivated, and Michigan players, they just can't worry about it. So let's get right into today's video, guys. We got everything, going to cover everything about each game of what to look out for Washington and Michigan. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys are subscribed, as well as to my other channel, College Sports Talk, where I talk about every single college team, as I just made a video recapping week 1 for each college football team. Go check out that channel, greatly appreciate it. And let's get right into today's video. Alright, so we're gonna start with Washington here, the side of their offensive side. Dylan Morris, the quarterback for Washington, he was 27 for 46 attempts in the game with 226 yards and 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. He did not play his best game, so I don't really know much about this quarterback, if he's good or not, but against Montana, he did not perform well, that's for sure. When I was watching their game, he seemed to throw the ball behind his receivers. He had a bad pass in the last final drive. Then he also had a tip interception. So he was kind of throwing the ball in weird spots, kind of behind his receivers and everything. So we'll see how he enters Michigan's game. But so far, not a great start for Dylan Morris, the quarterback for Washington. Now, running backs, Richard Newton, he had 17 carries, 62 yards, 0 touchdowns, but he is probably the best running back on their team. He had the most carries, and he had some good plays throughout the game, so watch out for Richard Newton, the running back for Washington. But I think our defense should contain Washington's offense, but we got to see, because Washington, we haven't seen a whole lot of Washington yet, because I do think that Washington is a fairly decent team. They just did not show up against Montana, so we'll see how they perform against Michigan. Now, receiving, Cade Otton, the tight end for Washington, or Oten, however you pronounce his name, he had 8 receptions, 82 yards, and so that tight end, watch out for him. He had a pretty good game against Montana. And then Taj Davis, 6 receptions, 59 yards. Cameron Davis, 3 receptions, 29 yards. Richard Newton, the running back, had 4 receptions, 23 yards. And Giles Jackson, the transfer from Michigan to Washington, had a fairly decent game with 4 receptions, 15 yards. And he actually dropped a slant pass late in the game. But so yeah, watch out for Giles Jackson, as he's going up against his former team, Michigan. So we'll see how he performs, and hopefully we can, contain this offense. So yeah, that's their offensive side. And for Michigan, obviously, Michigan had a great game. Cade McNamara, 9 for 11. For passes, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then J.J. McCarthy came in the second half, 4 for 6 with 80 yards and a touchdown pass, and that was pretty much it for our quarterbacks. Then we put in Dan Villari. And then rushing, obviously our backfield is insane this year. Blake Corum, 14 carries, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. And then Hassan Haskins, 13 carries, 70 yards, 1 touchdown. And A.J. Henning, with his 1 carry of a little jet sweep, he had 74 yards and a touchdown. That was an awesome play design by Josh Gaddis, and Roman Wilson did the same thing with his jet sweep, 1 carry, 43 yards. Then Donovan Edwards had 6 carries, 27 yards, and yeah, so our running game should be definitely good. But although Washington's defense, they did their job against Montana, they only let them score 13 points. So Washington's defense, did pretty good. The offense really did not. So this is really going to test our offense, and we'll see how our offense performs. Receiving yards, receivers for Michigan, Ronnie Bell obviously got hurt, which is a huge loss for Michigan, and hopefully our other receivers can step up. Dalen Baldwin, who had that 1 reception that connected with J.J. McCarthy for 69 yards and the touchdown. And then Eric All, the tight end, 23 yards with 3 receptions. Blake Corum had a touchdown and 2 receptions with 22 yards. Cornelius Johnson, hopefully he steps up. He had 2 receptions with 15 yards. He is kind of one of our bigger receivers, so hopefully he gets some bigger plays against Washington. A.J. Henning, he had 1 reception for 11 yards, and Mike Sanders didn't do much. That's pretty much it. I mean, we didn't pass the ball that much, but when we did, we only had a couple passes. So a really huge one was Cade McNamara's connection with Ronnie Bell for 76 yards and a touchdown, and then J.J. McCarthy with his 1 pass for 69 yards to Dalen Baldwin. So that was the really big passes, and really our running game was just tearing Western Michigan apart. So look out for the running game to be good again, and look for receivers to step up and fill Ronnie Bell's shoes, as that is huge loss. But I think our receivers, can step up. I mean, we have talented wide receivers, all around. Roman Wilson is the fastest receiver on the team, so look out for Roman Wilson to really maybe fill in that as a slot receiver, because he is the fastest receiver on the team for Michigan. So we'll see what Josh Gaddis and Jim Harbaugh does. Also, punt returns and kick returns. Got to figure out who will be doing that now that Ronnie Bell is gone for the season. So they'll figure it out though. But yeah, so Michigan, Washington, 8 p.m. Maize out at night in the Big House in Michigan Stadium. Should be a good game, guys. No matter if Washington lost or won, it really doesn't matter. Michigan players have made it clear that, and coaches, they've made it clear that they don't care that Washington lost to Montana. They just got to keep focused and play the game and win the game. So now I'm going to give my opinion on both games. Michigan against Western Michigan. Their defense played really good. Michigan's defense played really good, only let them to 14 points. They had a top 10 offense last year, although they only played MAC teams last year. But, their offense was fairly decent. They actually have a good quarterback, Western Michigan does. Caleb Ellaby is his name, and he really, Michigan has to get pressure on the quarterback. All first half, that's really what our struggle was, not getting pressure on the quarterback. Second half, we fixed it, and we were getting pressure. We forced him to throw incomplete passes, which is exactly what happened. So just getting pressure on the quarterback, and the run game was actually, run defense was actually good. It was actually pretty dang decent for our first time. For the first time for players running under Mike Macdonald's defense. They definitely made adjustments. It was clear they made adjustments, and you could finally see, how they played zone. There was a few mistakes I saw while playing zone where players, should have been in a spot. Because I remember one play, a guy was coming over the middle, and was it probably the safety or something? They backed up. They should have probably, went up a little bit more to deny that. But it's just players are going to make mistakes on the defensive side. It's what happens. They'll figure it out though. And the defense, I think, will do good against Washington's offense. So we'll see. Now Michigan's offense, obviously running the ball. Jim Harbaugh loves to run the ball. Josh Gaddis said he wants to establish the run, so look for Michigan to establish the run early, and then also having some of those explosive passing plays like we did against Western Michigan. And that's what makes teams great, having those great play abilities to make those explosive plays. That's what makes a team great. Now for Washington against Montana, it was ugly. I'm not going to lie, it was really ugly, especially for the offensive side. They scored on their first drive and never scored again. But that I'm not saying they're not a good team. I'm sure they are. The offense just did not show up against Montana. They were all over them, whenever they ran the ball. So one thing Washington does have, they have a great backfield on the defensive side. So their cornerbacks are really good, and their defense is really good. I mean, they only let them score 13 points. So we'll see how the game goes. That is pretty much everything I have to say. And yeah, I mean, Michigan versus Washington should be a good one either way. Either if if Washington won the game or not. Still going to be a good game, so we'll see. My score prediction, now I was actually close last time. My score prediction was 45-17. Michigan won at 47-14. My score prediction for this, I will have Michigan winning because Washington did not look the best. I'm going to have Michigan winning this one 38-14. I think it's a reasonable score because Washington's defense is pretty good. I also think Michigan's offense is good too, so that'll be a good battle. And Washington's offense, I don't think, obviously they weren't that great, so based off their first game, I think they'll only score 14 points against their defense. We'll see. Let me know down in the comment section below your guys' score prediction. Other than that, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please drop a like. Make sure you go subscribe to my other channel, College Sports Talk. Other than that, guys, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.